Hello, boys and girls. This is the video for day 3 of your week-long writing assignment for the personal narrative. And today we're going to be reviewing what a personal narrative is, and then I'm going to be writing an example of the sort of thing that I'm expecting for you to write. Okay, remember, if you finish early, you can turn it in early, but you do have all the way until Friday to make sure you have it just how you want before you turn it in. All right. So yesterday, we filled out a graphic organizer to help us come up with our thoughts and organize our thoughts about the things that we are going to write about in our trip or adventure. So I am going to quickly share my graphic organizer with you to remind you of the sort of things that we wrote there. Maybe, there we go. Okay, so here is the graphic organizer that I did. And remember that I said I was going to write about a trip that I got to take to Lake Pleasant, where I got to take my horse and swim with him in the lake. It was very exciting. So in my graphic organizer, I found out about a trip where I could take my horse to swim in Lake Pleasant. So that is going to be my beginning. The next thing I had to do was figure out how I was going to get a ride for me and my horse to go there. Then I met a lady who had space in her trailer to take another horse, and I rode with her all the way to Lake Pleasant with my horse. Then I might talk a little bit about the drive to Lake Pleasant. Then I'm going to talk about actually swimming with my horse Stuart in Lake Pleasant. And then I'm going to end by talking about all the cool memories I made by going on that trip. So you're going to want to take a look at your graphic organizer today while you are starting your actual writing of your personal narrative. So what I'm going to do, maybe, is I am going to, if I can, I am going to copy and paste into my blank page each of the things that is on my graphic organizer. And I'm going to put them on my page in order so that I have that to use while I am. The other thing you can do is just open another tab, and you can go back and forth between your graphic organizer and your blank page that you are going to start writing on. So I'm copying and pasting. Couple more to go. Okay, last one. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my graphic organizer with you for a moment. Hi there. And next I'm going to share my blank sheet that I just pasted things from my graphic organizer onto. You can do it that way if you want to copy and paste, or you can just open a second tab. I just can't show you both tabs at the same time, so that's why I copied and pasted on mine, and you're welcome to do yours that way if you'd like. So I'm now going to share the page that I just pasted onto. All right, so these are kind of my notes that I took right from my graphic organizer. I'm going to move those down a little by clicking here and pressing enter several times. Then I'm going to come back to the top of my page. You can see where my cursor is at the top. And the first thing I need to do is make a title. So I am going to call my personal narrative, Stuart Goes for a Swim. Okay, and I would like this to be in the middle of my page. So if you look up here, you can see that this shows everything on the left side. This one shows it centered. This one shows it on the right side. And this one shows it justified so that it goes all the way across. So I am going to highlight this because I want it to be centered, and then press this button and it's going to come right to the top. Okay, so you can do a few things if you want to. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to make my title bold, and I'm going to make my title a little bigger than the rest of my typing. Okay, so now I am ready to begin my paragraph. Okay, so after my title, I'm going to leave a blank space, but I don't want to be in the middle anymore. So now I'm going to come up and go to the left because I want to start my typing over here. Except for, do I want to start my typing over here? What do I need to do at the beginning of a paragraph? Anybody know? That's right, I need to indent. So I need to leave a little bit of space to show that this is the beginning of a paragraph. So I can do that by using my keyboard and pressing the Tab button, and it automatically moves my cursor over 5 spaces and indents for me. So now I am in a place with my cursor where I'm ready to start writing. So I'm going to look here and say, okay, the first thing I was going to talk about was finding out about a trip. So I am going to say, one day, oops, another problem. So I don't want this to be in bold. So I'm going to highlight all of this, and I'm going to turn off my bold. There we go. One day, I was looking at Facebook, and I saw that a group of ladies was planning a trip, whoops, to Lake Pleasant with their horses. They are going to swim in the lake with the horses. I immediately knew this was something I wanted. So I think that's enough for finding out. But then I had to find a ride. The problem was, and see how I'm using words like I, because this is about me, it's a personal narrative. The problem was that I did not have a horse trailer to take my horse to the lake. What could I do? I made a post on Facebook saying that I wanted to go, but I needed a ride. A lady responded and said that she would give me a ride. Okay, I'm going to move to my next paragraph. How do I do that? I press enter to go to my next line, and again, I'm going to press tab because this is going to be a new paragraph. Remember, you have to write at least 2 paragraphs. You can always write more than that, but 2 paragraphs is the minimum. Okay, so now I've found someone who'll give me a ride. I wasn't sure if I should take a ride from a stranger on Facebook. So I asked some of my friends if they knew this lady. A couple of them did, and they told me that she was very nice, that it would be safe for me to go with her. So on the day of the trip, she came and picked me and my horse up, and we drove to Lake Pleasant. It was a long drive, and we had plenty of time to get to know each other. Okay, so now I'm going to come back and look at the things I copied from my graphic organizer. So I have talked about finding out about the trip. I've talked about figuring out how to get a ride. I talked about meeting the lady. I talked about the drive. Now I'm ready to talk about actually swimming in the lake with Stuart, who is my horse. So I'm going to start a new paragraph. Again, I'm going to tab over so I can indent. And we got to Lake Pleasant. We unloaded our horses and rode them right into the lake. My horse, Stuart, really liked the water. He even let me ride him while he swam. It was hard to stay on. Oops. We had such a great time swimming with all of the other horses. Some of them loved it, and some of them did not. I was so happy that Stuart liked swimming in the lake with me. Okay, now I've talked about actually being there, and then I'm going to finish up by talking about memories. So I'm going to start a new paragraph. I made some great memories and well, actually more than one, and some new friends when I took Stuart to swim at Lake Pleasant. I have even gone horseback riding with some of them again. I would love to go back to Lake Pleasant and swim Stuart again. And since I've gone over to the next page, I'm just going to highlight all of this, and I'm going to make it all a bit smaller. And maybe my title looks a little big now, so I'm going to make that just a smidgen smaller. All right, so now I have written my entire personal narrative. Make sure that you also take a look at the videos that are posted about opening and closing your personal narrative so you can find some hints. I'm just going to cut the parts of the graphic organizer that I pasted because I don't need those anymore. And now I would read this over, and if I'm completely happy with it, I could turn it in. More than likely, I would read it over later, and I would probably find some things that I wanted to change. So then I would edit it a little bit, make sure I had it exactly how I wanted it, and then turn it in. So I'm going to stop sharing this. I will post it so you have it to look at while you're working on yours. And come back to you. So we will be working on this all week, like I said. If you're happy with everything that you've done today, you are welcome to turn it in. But I do suggest that you let it sit for a while, because sometimes when we read something that we just wrote, we know what we meant and it sounds good to us. But if we read it a little bit later, we've kind of forgotten exactly what we meant. And then we can tell if our writing is not very clear, because we'll say, oh, well, I don't think this really explains what I wanted to say. And then we can do some editing. So all we have to do is go back, change some things until we have it just how we want it. All right, so have fun with your personal narratives. I can't wait to read about all of your adventures and trips. And remember, it can be anything from a trip to McDonald's to a trip to another country. And it can be anything that happened to you today or yesterday or 2 years ago, whatever you want to choose. All right, well, have fun with it, and I'll see you later. Bye.